This is probably the most important episode or lesson of the entire series, because after today's video you hopefully will have an understanding on how to make a profitable industry serving your city instead of just generating lots of problems you would not even relate to it. Hello fellow mayor Struggle, welcome back to the third episode of my How to Play Cities Skylines tutorial series. To keep the series format, let's pause and have a look at what we got with the new milestone and act on that accordingly. So we have the option to unlock a new tile for expanding the city in the future. We can now draw districts and can give each of them different policies or establish some policies citywide. We could grab a second loan, but if you are following the series you won't have to. And if you missed out on the first two episodes, you really should check those out, for I'm sticking to my promise that when making the right decisions as shown, you'll have a smooth ride into the mid and end game. We get district specializations for our new districts and a few service policies. Then we got new services, which are firefighters and police, and we are able to place unique buildings now. The district specializations, agriculture and forestry, are part of the base game, and the self-sufficient buildings and organic and local produce are part of the Green Cities DLC. These are also called eco-residential or commercial by the community. We also get access to new information panels, so we have access to fire safety showing fire service coverage and crime showing crime rate and coverage of our police force. Then the natural resources view and the district view. And we also unlock the leisure info view, even though we cannot directly influence leisure yet. This unlocks because now we are able to provide fire and police service to commercial buildings, meaning they are now able to level up and thus will also slightly attract tourists, which is also the reason why we get a tourism view already. So expanding the city is behind this big globe thing down here. Here you can select the tile, then it shows you the available resources and outside connections and the tile's price. You also can activate the info panel here and, for example, select the new resources tab to actually get a grasp of what is located where. Districts and later areas are here. When you select the paint tool, you can adjust the brush size here, and in those tabs above are the different specializations. The unique buildings hide behind this button. Most of them have requirements your city or one of your past cities need to fulfill to unlock them, and they are required to unlock monuments. Now, glad you followed the series so far, because this means that we had the cash to put down the new services instantly, which is good because we do not want crime rates to build up. I used the opportunity to rearrange stuff and let it grow a little. Since we discussed service types in the last episode, you should not have any issues to find a nice place for the firefighters and police. Personally, I like all the commercials in walking distance, which is why I moved them and the new services within the residential area. Let's talk about the root of all the problems people have all over the forums, discussions in Steam. Of course, we are going to add some of this new industry, but I also promised you that this starting interchange will support the city for quite a while. Let's say nobody is moving into the city, then we still would have two kinds of traffic going through this intersection: tourism and industry. We cannot do much about tourism. The more attractive our city becomes, the more tourists are going to visit it. But we could do something about the industry traffic. This is the outside connections info view, probably the least understood in the entire game. Now, imagine if we would produce these agricultural and forestry products locally, we could reduce our imports by about 55%. With the generic industry we have right now, we are importing processed raw materials and our industry turns them into goods, which our commercial zones require. To not have to import those processed materials, we need extractors for generating the raw materials and processors to turn those into processed materials. If we put a district specialization somewhere where the resource is not present, we will only get processing industry. The district specialization put on the resource should generate extractors, but also generates processors. Personally, just to keep track of the numbers, I dezoned buildings which became processors there just to have them both separated. All of this works even better at scale, for reasons I'll elaborate later. Now, instead of just just building or zoning away like a lot of YouTubers do it. We want to match those imported quantities exactly to actually reduce traffic, because all trucks, after having finished their delivery, will return to their originating facility. This means the trucks which were importing goods into our city will use the intersection again on their way out. If we overproduce and thus will have to export, our industry will send the trucks out through the intersection off the map, and somewhen this truck will return from there. That is specifically worse because it might take them a while until they are available again. This entire dynamic of course changes when cargo trains are available, for you can make your city export on rail primarily if you know how. Might take a few episodes, but we'll definitely get there. Now, for all the not enough buyers or not enough materials issues Cities Skylines players have, there are two reasons. Either production does not meet demand, or traffic prevents stuff from getting to where it needs to. I will cover the industry's DLC in a future episode, but regarding vanilla, there is no such thing as too few materials or not enough buyers, for we could import or export everything, which eliminates the production out of the equation, so all those issues are traffic related. Back in our little tutorial city, we see that our raw resources are getting exported and the processing building imports. To understand this behavior, imagine a blackboard. When the extractor produced some raw materials, it puts the offer on the board and then waits a little. But because no one requests the raw materials, it exports them. A little bit later, the processing building puts its demand on the blackboard and waits a little. But since no one is meeting its demand, it issues an import call. To fix this behavior, we kinda need to align the timing. And the easiest way of doing this is just have more of them. So all these posts on the blackboard become more frequent, and thus there will be more matches. That is why this works even better at scale. We are going to implement the industry's DLC in this tutorial series, for it provides a new and genuine solution for these issues. But for today, here is how you should approach industry. First, this orange indicator here is not industry demand, it is jobs demand, okay? Only if this is elevated, we check whether our city actually would need more goods. If yes, build more generic industry. Else, check if we are importing stuff. If not, then we are going for offices. Should we import something, identify what is getting imported. If processed material is imported, build more processor buildings of that kind. If raw materials is imported, get more extractors of that kind. My advice, no matter how big your city is, for adjustments always just zone one 4x4 thing at a time. Hopefully you understand how this approach could save you lots of issues, and we see each other in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.